Welcome to Book Clever's latest book haul book video. My last video was on December 5th, 2015, and today is January 1st, 2016. So Happy New Year to whoever may be watching this video. This isn't books that I've only purchased in used bookstores, but also a lot of books that I've purchased online, everything since December 5th when I made my last video. So I'm going to try to make some sense of everything here. I think I have everything organized correctly in piles. So I'm going to start here. These two stacks were purchased on eBay, all from the same seller. Most of the books were only $1. A few of them were $3 or $4, which he asked more for, but he allowed you to, offer him a price. So I would always offer less, obviously, and he always accepted. Most of them were $1, however. So I'm going to go through these. I can't believe he was getting rid of these for $1, but he did. This I bought mostly for the cover. I hope it's a good book, but I thought it was a pretty classic vintage cover. That's The Long Knife by Louis Brennan. Here is Scarlet Petticoat by Nard Jones. Again, I liked the cover. It was only $1. The Captive Women by Walter D. Edmonds. Bronco Apache by Paul Wellman. The War Chief by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is a pretty cool cover from a movie. The Stalking Moon by Theodore V. Olson. It was made into a movie with Gregory Peck. I thought that was a pretty cool cover. The Manly Hearted Woman by Frederick Manford. Conquering Horse Again by Frederick Manford. The Land Beyond the Mountains by Janice Holt Giles, a little-known author. She wrote books in 50s and 60s. She was very good. The Great Adventure, Janice Holt Giles. Another Janice Holt Giles, Six Horse Hitch. These were in such good shape that I had to get them, and they were so cheap. Scarlet Feather, Dale Van Every. Bridal Journey, cool cover, Dale Van Every. Another Dale Van Every, Westward the River. Benjamin Capps, a very good author, A Woman of the People. I actually have another copy, or two, of this book. I read this book a year or two ago. It was very good. Benjamin Capps, another one, The Brothers of Uterica. The Unforgiven by Alan LeMay. Bloody Hand. I thought this was a pretty cool vintage cover. It's supposed to be Jim Beckworth on the cover, and that book's by Matthew Braun. The Forgotten Colony by Otto Binder. I believe he's famous for something to do with maybe Superman. I can't remember for sure, but that might be it. And The Guns of Burgoyne, Bruce Lancaster. Historical fiction. I don't really know anything about this book, but the cover was cool. Had some good reviews. So all of those were from the same seller on eBay. I bought a big bulk order. Let me put some stuff away here so I have some room. That was a pretty amazing eBay book haul. So let's see here. I'll do some other eBay purchases that I made. These two books I bought from the same seller, Comanche Chaser and the Comancheros. Comanche Chaser by Dane Coolidge, and Paul Wellman, The Comancheros. And these three I bought also from another seller. Comanche Captives by Fred Grove. Blood Arrow by Dan Parkinson, and The Canyon by Jack Schaefer. This book is quite old. It's falling apart. It's reading only. When I say it's falling apart, I mean the pages are all intact, but it's you could probably pull it apart pretty easy if you wanted to. I hope to find a better copy of this book someday, although it's out of print for a long time, and all the copies are probably old and vintage, falling apart. and it was only a few dollars, so that was a really good deal because I've never been able to get a copy of that until now, and I really wanted to get one. Of course, Schaeffer wrote the book Shane, a famous book. And the last purchase, this I think was an Amazon purchase actually. Wayne D. Overholser, Summer of the Sioux. Takes place in 1876. And it was in great shape, so I picked that up. Let's see here, some other eBay purchases. The Moccasin Telegraph, excuse me, not eBay, Amazon. Amazon, so I got the Moccasin Telegraph by W.P. Kinsella. Hardcover Woman Chief by Benjamin Capps. I have that in paperback, but soft cover, and the price was right. I figured let me get that. It was in really nice shape. Montana Adventure, Frank Bird Lindemann, his recollections, edited by Harold G. Merriam. And I've wanted that for a long time. Finally found a really nice copy. This Country Was Ours. I actually saw this book in soft cover at a used bookstore, but it was falling apart, and so I found the hardcover for a nice price on Amazon, and looks like a lot of little interesting bits of information in there. And this book I'm actually reading right now. It's called Custer and the Little Bitcoin Campaign, or a companion to Custer and the Little Bitcoin Campaign, edited by Brad Lookingbill. And this book was quite expensive. I think it cost about $160. A lot of it's kind of like art made up of articles, the latest research, although I've already found a few errors, but it's still fun to read. I like that topic. So let's put these aside here, and let's go to this stack over here. Let me explain before I go through these. I've recently had an interest in old movies. I don't know where this came from, like Humphrey Bogart movies, Cary Grant, and so I've been watching some old movies lately, buying them on Amazon, and I thought those Humphrey Bogart movies, with like The Maltese Falcon, was really good, and I thought, well, who wrote those books? So so I looked them up, and Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett. So I started to look for these books in stores. So I found these in New York City. This I think was in a rack for like 50 cents. Decent shape, nothing really wrong with it. For some reason they were just giving it away, and so I'm happy to find it for that price. Maltese Falcon, The Wrath of Cochise by Terry Mort. And this book here, I already have a couple of copies of this, but it's paintings by Carl Bodmer from the 1830s. It's a pretty cool book. It's got some different articles in here by different authors, covering different parts of the Bodmer and Prince Nuid, of their trip to America in the 1830s. And this book here, The West, this is a hard to find book for a decent price, and it was just I think it was like $5. So good find there. Okay, now these books here in these two stacks I bought a couple of days ago in Connecticut, all at the same store, the Book Barn in Connecticut. This book, for children, I don't really need to have it, but it was cheap, and I like the cover. It's got art by Nicholas Egenhofer, who's a famous artist. This is a famous book about Custer for young adults or children. It's in great shape. Looks, even unused. And the cover being so nice, I figured, it makes it. It's nice even just for art. So just to have it, so I picked that up. This book, Quanah Parker by Len Hiltz, is also for, I guess, maybe teens. but it looked really good. It's from a school library, but it's like unused. I don't think anybody ever used it. There's no stamps in it, and it just looks like it was never read. Paper Talk, Charlie Russell's American West. This I have already in hardcover, but the price was really good, and it's hard to find in this condition cheap. So when I saw it, I said, well, I'm taking that. Education of a Wandering Man, biography, a memoir by Louis L'Amour. I found this recently in paperback. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but when I saw it on hardcover, very cheap and pretty much nothing wrong with it, almost like new. Figured I would take that. And speaking of, again, of those Humphrey Bogart movies, Raymond Chandler, 4 Philip Marlowe novels. Of course, he wrote The Big Sleep, which was a great movie. So in here, by the way, this was $4. It looks in great shape. It's just the cover was a little bit dusty in the sides, but I cleaned it, and the lady in the store even cleaned it a little bit. I've seen this on the internet. It's not $4, I could tell you that. Depending on who's selling it, it can get expensive. But for $4, wow, that was quite a deal. It's got The Big Sleep, Farewell My Lovely, The High Window, and The Lady in the Lake. And so all in one book. Nice leather cover. That seemed like a great purchase. And then they had these 4 Humphrey Bogart books. Tough Without a Gun, a biography, looked interesting. This is a lot of pictures in here, and there's also text. I think that was like $4. I think all of these were $4. These Bogart books, Humphrey Bogart. This one I've been reading the last few days. Just has background details on the movies and pictures from the movies, and it's kind of interesting. I don't know why I even got into this, but it just kind of happened. And here's a nice book. This book here, written by Nathaniel Benchley, and he wrote. First of all, was it his? Is he the father or the son? Another guy named Benchley who wrote Jaws is related to Nathaniel Benchley, and I can't remember if Nathaniel is the son or the father, but I know they're related. And this book, nice biography. So, found that. Surprised they were all just sitting there, all those Humphrey Bogart books. Sometimes I'm really surprised at what I find. Okay, now let's see. Where did I get these books? Where was I? I'm having a blackout. I just bought these books. Oh. I bought them in Connecticut with the other books. Here we go. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't remember that a couple of days ago. Pemmican, this was $1. This is hard to find, and it definitely does not go for $1 on the internet. By Vardis Fisher. Looks like it's going to be a good book. I actually have another copy. This will be my reading copy. Elmer Kelton, The Wolf and the Buffalo. I read this book many years ago. It was really awesome. I have several copies, including hardcover, and all of their paperbacks are $1. So I don't think too much about it. Even if I have it for $1, I like to get another copy, and this is like in excellent condition. The Unforgiven by Alan LeMay, another copy, nice cover. The Stalking Moon by Olson, which I had with a nice vintage cover I showed you earlier. So that'll be a reading copy. Mike Blakely wrote some good westerns. Shortgrass Song looked like an interesting book. I read the back and it sounded interesting, and it was only $1. Will Henry, The Gates of the Mountains. I think I have another copy of that with a different cover. I kind of like the cover, so I figured, what the hell. The Alamo, 13 Days to Glory by Lon Tinkle. This book, it wasn't even priced. They put price tags on their books that I have to like peel off carefully. This didn't even have a tag, and it's like just mint. There's like just nothing wrong with it. On everything, it's been read. There's no crease. It was just sitting there. Couldn't believe it. $1. Hondo. This is a great classic cover. I already have maybe 2 of these with this cover, but I just love the cover so much. And if I ever have a bigger place and I want to keep books in different rooms, this is something nice to put out even as art. So what the hell. This Blood Arrow I also purchased. I showed you online. This copy is actually a little bit better condition that I found, so the other one I'll read, and this will be to save. I've also been into some Edgar Allan Poe. Around October I started to read some short stories of his. They were really good, a lot of them, and so I've been buying some books with him. It's all the same stories, but some of them are like commentary, so you kind of learn some different details about the stories. Otherwise, if there was no commentary, there'd be almost no need to buy more than one, although with me, different covers, I'll find some reason to buy more than one. So this dollar looked like it was unread. This is an older book. Actually saw an older copy of this with a different cover that I liked even more, but it wasn't in the best of shape, and so I got this one. It's got some black and white sketches inside to go with the stories. For some reason I got into Tarzan not too long ago, just kind of curious what it was. I read the first novel, and even though it kind of jumps the shark, it was very interesting. I thought it was a good book, and so this is The Lost Adventure. I guess some old manuscript that was found, and another author named Joe Lansdale finished it. So I don't really know what to expect of it, but it was only $1, and I figured for $1 I'd rather get it than regret it afterwards. And here's 2 more Tarzan novels. They have different sets. There's like the black cover set. There's a white cover set. Most of the ones I have a black cover. I have a bunch of them. This is book number 3, which I didn't have, and here's book number 2. I couldn't find a good one with the black cover, which are the ones I prefer to get. But this was nice. Anyway, I wrote reading copy because it wasn't in the best of shape. It's hard to tell here, but cover was a little bit loose at the spine. But for reading copy for $1, what the hell? I'll find the black cover one as I go to more stores. Okay, now we took a trip to Philadelphia last week, and it was a little bit disappointing because the stores there were quite overpriced with the books. I was a bit surprised. I didn't really buy everything that I would have liked to have gotten. I don't like being ripped off, and especially if the condition isn't really what I want. So I did manage to find a few things though. So in one store, I found With the Indians in the Rockies by James Willard Schultz. Yeah, he wrote most of his books deal with the Blackfeet Indians with whom he lived in the 1870s and 1880s. Nez Perce Country, Alvin Josephy, and this was I put in this book bag comic sleeve here. George Catlin, kind of like a pamphlet, more than a pamphlet, like a little booklet. Looked rare, and it was cheap enough. It was probably like $4 or $5. That seemed like a good deal for something rare. This here is Howling Wolf. He was a Cheyenne Indian, and it's just Howling Wolf, a Cheyenne warrior's graphic interpretation of his people. I have another copy of this book with the dust jacket. This one didn't have a dust jacket. It was $5, and I figured for $5 it's nice to have another copy of this book because it's a rare book to find, and for $5 that seemed like a good deal. One of the stores I went to in Philadelphia, it was used to be a silent movie studio, and the man was just really overpriced. I mean, books I would have purchased, he wanted like $100, $20, $50. Those were ridiculous prices. He had a whole bunch of vintage paperbacks I would have purchased, but they were just not priced to buy in bulk. So I only bought one book, and that was a real shame. So I bought